Good afternoon, boys and girls. We're on lesson 63, subtracting a fraction from a whole number greater than 1. All right, this is kind of a review almost of something that we did before, um, but just with a little bit more difficult numbers. So today, you only have to figure out how to do one thing, which is to subtract a fraction or a mixed number from a whole number greater than 1. There's no vocab today, so in your vocab spot, go ahead and draw a star in the vocab spot, and this way I know that you've watched the video. Here's the joke of the day. Why did the student get upset when the teacher called him average? And it was because it was a mean thing to say. All right, I hope you get that. Remember, we worked on mean before, which also means average. Okay, so here's our new concept. What you guys learned before is that when we subtract fractions from a whole number, what we have to do is make that whole number into a fraction, okay? So like, for example, if we take out 1/3 from 1, we have to change 1 into a fraction with the same denominator as the fraction that we're using to subtract. So that becomes 3/3, because 3/3 equals 1. And then we subtract by just subtracting the numerators, which is 3 minus 1 equals 2. And I'm sorry that we had to do fractions this way, because this is actually the way that this is also a way you could show a fraction. I just don't want you to get confused with that, but that's the only way I could type it in there. So 3/3 minus 1/3, you end up getting 2/3. Okay, and now if we're gonna do a number greater than 1, and in this case we have 4, you got to think about, you have 4 shapes, right? And we are going to subtract it by 1/2. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those shapes, all right, or one of those pies, and we are going to cut that pie in half. Okay, so now we have 3 and 2 halves. Does that make sense? Then in order for us to take out the half, we just subtract the numerators, and then you end up with 3, and then 2 minus 1 equals 1, 1/2. Okay, so what you do is you have to transform this 4 into 3 and 2 over 2. So you have to change one of the numbers, take one whole number and change that into you're going to change that number into a mixed fraction. Okay, so you have a whole number and a fraction together, and that's how you get 3.5. All right, so we have the whole 4. You make 1 into a half, which becomes 2 pieces out of 2 pieces. Altogether still equals 4, but when you subtract the half, what you end up getting is 3, which is the 3 wholes that we still have, and then 1/2 if we take this one away. All right, so here's our example for number 1. Name the number of shaded circles as a whole number and as a mixed number. You guys should know this one. All right, this is easy. We have 2 whole pies, which is our first number, and then we have a pie that's cut into 4 pieces, and it has 4 pieces still in there, so it's 4 out of 4. Which actually, in actuality, we have 3 pies total, but as a mixed number, it becomes 2 and 4 over 4, which is this right here. All right. In example number 2, there are 5 pies on a shelf. The server gave 1/3 of a pie to the customers. How many pies remained on the shelf? So we can think of 5 as being 4 plus 1, which we're going to take one of those pies again, and we're going to use this denominator 3 to tell us how we're going to cut that one pie. So I have 4 and 3 over 3, which is 4 plus 1, right? 3 over 3 equals 1, which is 5. All right, but I can't subtract a fraction until this fraction is the same denominator. Excuse me. So we have 3 minus 1, which equals 2. So our answer is 4 right here and 2/3 pies. Now for our lesson practice, you're going to subtract. Remember, you're going to take one of the whole numbers here, so it's going to be 3 and a fraction. The fraction that you're going to use for letter A is going to be 4 over 4, so it's 3 and 4 over 4. Then you can subtract this fraction from it. All right, You're going to do the same thing for the rest of these, okay? And then for letters D through F, it wants you to explain in words what you did, okay? So you're going to subtract 2 minus 1/4. So you're going to take 1, okay, away from this and make it 4 out of 4. And then subtract the 4/4 from 1/4 from 4/4. Okay, and just write it down quickly how that went. All right, so you have to do that. Make sure you do this. If you don't explain it in words, I know that you weren't paying attention to what you're reading here or what I'm saying right now. So make sure that you explain how to get the answer that you got. All right, if you have any questions, write those questions in the back, and when we meet tomorrow, we'll go over it. All right, have a great day, guys.